Emerson says, no evil is pure, nor hell itself without its extreme satisfactions. All right, we're going to do it. Take your stand. We're going to do a little bit of a silk reeling technique that's derived from a move within the Hunyuan Qigong repertoire. It's a pretty soft one, but it's one that I sometimes call stirring the bowl or stirring the pot. We're going to do that, and we're going to play with a line, or actually a passage from Ralph Waldo Emerson. So find a spot, take your stand. It's a kind of modified bow stance, if you know what that is. If you're going to mirror me, your left foot's forward, your right foot's back. The right foot's about 45-degree angle. Kind of sink the hips. Imagine there's a big bowl or a pot or a cauldron in front of you. Top of the cauldron's about the height of your navel. And you got to stir what's in there, but you forgot your ladle, you forgot your spoon. So you got to dip your hands into it. You're just going to stir with the hands. And you're going to kind of shift the hips as you do so. And so you're stirring the cauldron, and you could stir it either way. But if your left foot is forward, then as you look down at your feet, and you look down at the movement of your hands, let the hands be going counterclockwise, so that the hands are kind of flowing in over that front knee. And let the rhythm of your breath be one thing, and then the rhythm of these sort of obvious movements of the body with the hands and the shifting of the hips, let that be another. Don't try to bring them into alignment. And when we do silk reeling practices, this is a pretty soft one. This is less challenging in obvious ways to the body than some silk rolling practices, and maybe it's a little bit more removed from the kind of martial implications, although I guess they're still there, but there's martial implications if you're doing Tai Chi silk reeling as a training practice for push hands. But here we're just stirring the pot. That's all we're doing. But when you submit to these practices and do them over and over again, trying to learn from the embodied contemplative practice or the contemplative body practice of just moving the body like so again and again, there's something, I think, that's kind of analogous to that. And when you memorize a passage of text or return to a passage of text over and over again and reflect upon it and try to be transformed by it. And so last night there was a line from Ralph Waldo Emerson that struck me. It's from his essay Circles, which I encountered, I think, for the first time just last night. And Emerson says, no evil is pure, nor hell itself without its extreme satisfactions. No evil is pure, nor hell itself without its extreme satisfactions. It's kind of a metal thing to say if you hear it in a certain way. So Emerson says, no evil is pure, nor hell itself without its extreme satisfactions. So keep stirring the pot, just let the stirring be the stirring. Shifting the hips, the hands are kind of flowing. Doesn't have to be perfect. And no evil is pure, nor hell itself without its extreme satisfactions. And so the full passage, I think I can get it more or less right. It's something like this. I own that I'm gladdened by seeing the predominance of the saccharine principle throughout vegetable nature, and not less by beholding the inundation. I'm missing a word there, but the inundation of the principle of good. No, that's not it. By beholding in morals the inundation, now I'm missing a word still, but that's close enough, good enough for gonna work. The inundation of the principle of good into every chink and hole that selfishness has left open, yea, into selfishness and sin itself, so that no evil is pure, nor hell itself without its extreme satisfactions. So again, it's something like, I own that I'm gladdened by seeing the predominance of the saccharine principle throughout vegetable nature, nor less by beholding in morals the something, what's the word? Shoot, I'm going to check that. I think I got it now. So it's something like this. I think I got it. I think I got it. I think I got it now. I own that I'm gladdened by seeing the predominance of the saccharine principle throughout vegetable nature, nor less by beholding in morals the unrestrained inundation of the principle of good into every chink and hole that selfishness leaves open, yea, into selfishness and sin itself, so that no evil is pure, nor hell lacks its extreme satisfactions. Okay, I'm messing up a little bit here, but it's good enough for government work. So I own that I'm gladdened by seeing the predominance of the saccharine principle throughout vegetable nature, nor less by beholding in morals the unrestrained inundation of the principle of good into every chink and hole that selfishness leaves open, yea, even into selfishness and sin itself, so that no evil is pure, nor hell without its extreme satisfaction. Something like that. There we go. We'll call it that. Or if I keep messing it up, you're just gonna have to deal. So you're stirring the pot. Doesn't have to be perfect, I guess. It's not going to be. And you're just stirring it up, going counterclockwise. You might sink the hips a little bit more if you like, or you can take a more narrow, upright stance. Just stir the pot. No evil is pure, nor hell without its extreme satisfaction. So I own that I'm gladdened by seeing the predominance of the saccharine principle throughout vegetable nature, nor less by beholding in morals the unrestrained inundation of the principle of good into every chink and hole that selfishness leaves open, yea, even into selfishness and sin itself, so that no evil is pure, nor hell without its extreme satisfaction. Now, Emerson's a wordy kind of guy, and you might be like, what the hell does that mean? And why does he make it so damn complicated? I don't know. You know, sometimes Tai Chi practices are like that too, right? A lot of things are complicated. I didn't make it up. It goes like this. So, what is it? I'm gladdened by seeing the predominance of that saccharine principle throughout vegetable nature, nor less by beholding in morals the unrestrained inundation of the principle of good into every chink and hole that selfishness leaves open, yea, even into selfishness and sin itself, so that no evil is pure, nor hell without its extreme satisfaction. So, like, what is that? What does that mean? Let's switch sides. We'll get to that. So now, if you mirror me, the left foot's back, the right foot's forward. You're going to shift, and now, as you look down at your hands, if your right foot is forward, you're stirring clockwise. Still stirring the pot. Let the rhythm of the breath be one thing, the movement of the body or the movement of the rest of the body be its own thing. They don't have to be in alignment or a phase. All right, so I own that I'm gladdened by seeing the predominance of the saccharine principle throughout vegetable nature, right? I take it, right? He's saying something like, it makes him happy to see such sweetness, the saccharine principle, the sweetness throughout the world, even the living natural world. I guess he's focusing on plants rather than animals, but I don't know, maybe it's both. And he's also gladdened, nor less, by beholding in morals the unrestrained inundation of the principle of good into every chink and hole that selfishness leaves open, right? So if we think of the world in terms of morals and ethics, just how we treat each other, how we live our lives, there's so much damn selfishness. People are selfish to each other, and I take it also, right? In particular, one looks at oneself, and if one reflects, I won't speak for you, but like when I reflect, I think how much self there is involved, my own self, in my interactions so often with people. Like a self-consciousness or a self-focus or just a selfishness. Because even there, if you look with the right kind of eyes, right, you can behold in morals the unrestrained inundation of the principle of good into all of the little spaces of human interactions that are left untouched by selfishness, right? That are into every chink and hole that selfishness leaves open. He says even more than that, right? Yea, into selfishness and sin itself. That if you look with the right kind of eyes, keep stirring the pot. If you look with the right kind of eyes, right, you might see even in moments of selfish behavior, or whether you like the word sin or not, like in things one does that are not kind or that are just nasty or bad. Or I guess if you want to do the theological, like that you alienate you from the divine, even there you might see mixed in some goodness, so that no evil is pure, right? Even the most evil things aren't purely evil, that there's like, you can find good in there somewhere, somehow. And that's a hard thing to say if you're thinking about real tragedy or injustice or pain. The claim is like, even in the evil, it's not pure evil all the way through, it says. And even hell has its extreme satisfaction, like even moments of intense hellish experience, you might find something in there that can be satisfying. I don't know whether that's all true. It's kind of heavy. It's still kind of metal. All right, so keep stirring. Actually, let's switch sides again. Keep switching. So now the left foot's forward. You're stirring. What are you stirring if your left foot's forward? You're stirring counterclockwise. Hands are flowing in over that front knee. Just stir the pot. Maybe you're cooking some elixir and you don't want to get like sticky stuff on the pot where it burns, right? So just mixing it up. It says, I'm gladdened by seeing the predominance of the saccharine principle throughout vegetable nature, right? Even in nature itself. There's sweetness that one can find. At least there's a predominance of sweetness. Nor less, in beholding in morals the unrestrained inundation of the principle of good into every chink and hole that selfishness leaves open, yea, into selfishness and sin itself. Maybe the word even goes in there, I don't remember now, but into selfishness and sin itself. So that no evil is pure, nor hell itself without its extreme satisfactions. Switch sides again, stir. No evil is pure, nor hell itself. Is the word itself in there? Crap, I don't know. Nor hell without its extreme satisfactions. Yeah, I think that's it. So I own that I'm gladdened by seeing the predominance of sweetness, the saccharine principle. Being a little free here with my paraphrase, quoting, plagiarism, I guess. It's all Ralph Waldo Emerson, to be sure. I mean, the original is. All mistakes are my own. So I own that I'm gladdened to see the predominance of the saccharine principle throughout vegetable nature. Nor less to behold in morals the unrestrained inundation of the principle of good. The unrestrained inundation of the principle of good into every space. His words, a little bit awkward, every chink and hole that selfishness leaves open, yea, into selfishness and sin itself, so that no evil is pure, nor hell without its extreme satisfactions. All right. Let's close it just by doing what we call lowering the chi 3 times. Just bring it down, like you're bringing whatever it is down to the height of the navel. Turn your palms toward the navel so that the Laogong point, it's an acupuncture point in the center of each palm, is aiming at your navel. We do it 3 times. So this is 2. Lower the chi down to the height of the navel. One more time, all the way around. At the end, place the hands over the navel. For thinking of doing this in the style of what's called Hunyuan Qigong or primordial Qigong, the invitation here would be for women to place the left hand or the yin hand on this form against the body, touching the navel. And then women would cover it with the right or yang hand on the outside, the Laogong point in the center of each palm lined up. For men, it would be the right or yang hand touching the body for this form, and the left or yin hand covering it. And this here is, however, we're polarized in terms of yin and yang. We've got it all in us, all of us. But usually in Qigong forms, if there's a difference between the sex or gender invitations here, that women would place the yin side out, whatever that one's considered to be, and men would place the yang side out. That's a lot of words here, but just put your hands on the navel. And however they land is fine. Thumb your nose at sex or gender norms, or just ignore me, that's fine. But the invitation is women have the left hand in, men have the right hand in. Close the eyes if you feel comfortable and stable doing that. You always can leave the eyes open if you prefer, and just here for a moment. Notice everything that's arising that feels like it's arising inside your body right now. Notice everything that's arising that feels like it's at the surface of your body. Notice anything coming from outside. And whatever you see, whatever you notice, see if you can just kind of acknowledge it. Maybe even smile to it. And then when you're ready, the eyes are closed, open the eyes, look around, and pretend that nothing happened. Thanks.